Ladies and gentlemen, finally, the wait is over. After 7 months of not posting content, I bring to you the new podcast, Master of Communications. For those of you who don't know, I'm your host, Jorge Luis Quintero. The host has never changed, just the rebranding and the purpose of the podcast. Before, there was no purpose. Now, there's a purpose. And that's what we'll be going over today, which is the mission and vision of the podcast, explaining the 10 C's and breaking them down that comes from the vision, who will be in the podcast, and finally, what is communications? After hearing this episode, you will understand the importance of communication and why we need to better our communication skills. For those of you who have stuck around since Quintero Dinero, thank you for your support. And for those of you who are now tuning in to Master Communications, enjoy the ride, enjoy the show, and let's master life. So the mission of the podcast. The mission of the podcast is to bridge the gap of communications and identify how we can apply simple communication techniques and optimize them into our everyday lives. And what I mean about bridging the gap of communications is within the mass media, you're never going to get the full story. You're never going to get the full spectrum of it. At the end of the day, communication is a two-way street. It also involves two people. The one who is sending the message, delivering the message, and the other one who's interpreting and receiving the message. In Master of Communications, it is my job to make sure you get the full story, you get the full spectrum. And the vision of the podcast. The vision of the podcast is to make life simple by mastering communication, following the 10 C's. Now, these are the 10 C's that I have come up with that will help you be a better communicator, understand communication, and again, make life simple. The 10 C's are control, creativity, clear, concise, concrete, correct, consistency, complete, courteous, and connect. Now, with these 10 C's, I'm going to break down the importance of them. So number one is control. If you want to be a great communicator, you have to control your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions, and your attitudes. You also have to control yourself. Why would I want to take advice from someone who can't take control of their own life? First things first, we got to take control of our own lives. When we can do that, we are able to tune into more channels in our brain than we could ever imagine. And because of that, we create space. We create freedom. To me, discipline is freedom. And that all comes with controlling of the mind, which leads to number two, how we said creativity. The more control you have of your mind, the more channels opening up, the more creativity you have. To me, creativity is an expression of communication. The way you're able to dress, the way you're able to speak, it's a skill. But not only that, it's a form of communication that you've learned through discipline. Then you have number three, clear. You want to be clear of your message. You want to make it to the point where it is simple and easy for someone to interpret and understand. To go in a deeper surface level, you have to be clear of your goals. Whatever you want to do in life, make sure they're clear and make sure you're communicating that to the source. Because the clearer it is, the easier it is to interpret it. Number four, concise, which is basically what I am trying to do right now, is gather all this information up and make it as detailed and compound as possible for you all to interpret it as clearly as possible, which leads to step number 5, concrete. Whenever you're delivering a message, make sure you're specific. Number 6, correct. Any information you want to give out better be factual, truthful, and free from all errors. Free from all human errors. In this podcast, we speak the truth and nothing but the truth only. We always go straight to the truth. And that's why I'm inviting guests who are professionals in their craft, who are masters in their fields, because they're more connected to the source and they have more facts, more truth, and more experience and wisdom. Which goes to number 7, consistency. When you're delivering a message, you want to make sure that it is in a constant flow. There's got to be a pattern. There's got to be a direction of flow. It cannot go all over the place, because when you're going all over the place, whoever's interpreting the message is going to get confused. So make sure that when you're delivering the message, it's got a consistent pattern, a consistent flow. Number 8, complete. When everything complete, everything is known. That means the interpreter knows all the information, will not get confused, and knows what to do. Sometimes when it's complete though, you have to make sure you communicate it thoroughly, a second time to make sure there's no mistakes and it goes full circle. Number 9, courteous. Be polite. Be respectful. It'll take you a long way. Don't be a fucking asshole. Who's gonna want to listen to an asshole? Honestly, no one wants to listen to an asshole. So don't be an asshole. Be courteous. Be respectful. Be kind. To me, being kind is being gangster. Now, at the end of the day, everyone's always gonna go through something. So do your best to be respectful. At the end of the day, when there's respect, there's less shit going on, there's less animosity, and people stay in their own lanes. Number 10, connect. Always make sure whoever you're speaking with, whether if it's your team, your coworkers, your wife, relationship, household, friends, someone at the bar, some random person, you're going on a run, whoever it is, connect with them. Connect with them and follow through. You never know what the outcome will be. Humans are meant to help each other. Humans are meant to be in a community. And remember, the prefix for communication is calm. Calm. C-O-M-M. Calm. Which means together in association with intensity. I actually have a task for you all today. Or whenever you listen to this podcast is get out of your comfort zone and speak to someone. Whether you're going to the mall, you're getting groceries, going to the gas station, whoever you're interacting with, do your best to talk with them and connect with them and listen. For the most part, when you're communicating with someone, probably going to be listening 90% of the time. Now, who will be on this podcast? I will be inviting professional experts from all diverse sets of fields. Professors, doctors, coaches, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, health and wellness coaches, psychologists, farmers. Could be anybody in this world. Because at the end of the day, communication is in everything. Heck, if I could fucking speak dog, I would speak to a dog. We communicate in physical forms, mental forms, spiritual forms. Energy is a form of communication. People can pick up on good energy and bad energy. Our attitudes, the way we feel, our body language, that is all a form of communication. The way we dress. And then when you look in the past and you look through our ancestors, communication has been a vital part of survival. Through the animals' physical forms, they are sharing information. Everything around us that has life is always communicating. Most importantly, though, I believe that communication is the key to life. I think when there's miscommunication, bad shit happens. Wars, divorces, feuds, family feuds, assuming, which is one of the worst things ever. You know what assume stands for? Is making an ass out of you and me, taking things personal. Sometimes when someone tells you something, don't take it personal. It's probably because it's a reflection of themselves. That's what I read from one of the books called The 4 Agreements, which I think is a great book. The 4 rules is be impeccable with your word. Be true to your word. That will help you build character. Don't assume. Number 3, don't take things personal. Number 4, always do your best. I believe every day you should always do your best in life. And I think part of that comes with communication. Calling it out when you know you need to call it out. And don't stay silent. We have a voice for a reason. Let me read something to you about the tongue. Unlike other muscles, such as the bicep, tongue muscles don't develop around a supporting bone. Rather, they intertwine to create a flexible matrix. Shout out to Andrew Tate. Forming what is called a muscular hydrostat. This structure is similar to an octopus's tentacles or an elephant's trunk. The maximum strength in a healthy adult falls between 40 to 80 kilopascals. Basically, the tongue's a pretty strong muscle. Use your voice. We've been gifted with it. Use it, but use it for the right reasons. Don't be afraid to communicate. As difficult as it is, it'll make life easier and it'll make you grow as a person. And that is what I believe communication means, is to use your voice. Have reasoning with it, have logic, have truth, have factual evidence, and be clear about it is what's going to help you become a great communicator. Now we have our last and final topic of the podcast, which is an explanation for the weight of the podcast. Now I'm going to make it as concise, concrete, and clear as possible. It took me forever to find a title, but within those 7 months, it helped me develop more as a person, building my character, becoming a better communicator, realizing a lot of my failures, owning up to them. I believe ownership comes a long way. But most importantly is finding myself and what I want for this podcast. I loved Quintero Dinero, but there was no direction. But with this podcast, there is a direction. And that's to help people master communications, to make life simple, to build better leaders, to build better people, to build better humans. That's all that I have for you folks. Keep working hard and keep mastering your craft. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all soon.